In the South Wales countryside, NATO leaders and partners gathered in the face of world disorder and multiple threats, from Russia to Libya and the rise of the group called the Islamic State. 2 years ago, at the last NATO summit in Chicago, Russia's Prime Minister Medvedev was a special guest. This year, Vladimir Putin is the alliance's greatest challenge.
Russia is now fighting against Ukraine, in Ukraine. Russian troops and Russian tanks are attacking the Ukrainian forces. And while talking about peace, Russia has not made one single step to make peace possible.
This time, Ukraine's president is a special guest, looking for support as he prepares for ceasefire talks with pro-Russian separatists.
Ukraine is fighting for peace. Ukraine was not an initiator of war. Ukraine are object of the aggression, and we try to do our best for immediate stop the aggression and to immediate stop the fire.
As a non-member, Ukraine won't benefit from NATO military plans being discussed to deter further Russian aggression in Eastern Europe. On the sidelines of the summit, meanwhile, US President Barack Obama and British Prime Minister David Cameron are working with regional allies to form a coalition in the fight against IS in Iraq and Syria. And at the summit gates, anti-war protesters gathered. The message here that the only way out of conflict is dialogue.
I think most of the people here believe that NATO is an anachronistic organisation that should have folded after the end of the Cold War. And a lot of the people in NATO now seem to be delighted about what's happening between Russia and Ukraine and the chance to build up the Cold War again.
How do you talk to a group like ISIL?
Difficult, but nothing impossible. If there is a will, there is a way.
The NATO summit was originally supposed to be about the end of one war in Afghanistan, where NATO will bring combat operations to a close later this year. Instead, it's about dire threats to members and partners of the alliance on multiple fronts. There could be a lot more for anti-war protesters like these to shout about in future.
The summit is also about NATO itself, thrust back into the limelight, a Cold War alliance that had seemed to be losing its relevance. It must now prove its worth. Jonah, Al Jazeera, Newport, Wales.